Sayyidina Hassan and Hussain, and there was actually a third, Mohsin. Mohsin was born, and he died in infancy. Each one of these, the Sayyidina Ali wanted to name him Harb, war. Yet the Prophet ﷺ took an example from Sayyidina Harun. The Prophet ﷺ said, the likeness of me to you is the likeness of Moses and Aaron. Musa is the great prophet, but he doesn't have the lineage. He doesn't have any boys. He had 4 girls. What did the Prophet Muhammad have? 4 girls. Harun ﷺ was the assistant of Musa ﷺ, and he was a prophet, and the lineage went through him. So Sayyidina Dawood ﷺ, he's a lineage from the lineage of Harun. Sayyidina Isa from the lineage of Harun. So Harun is the one who will carry on the lineage. In the same way, the Prophet ﷺ said, oh Ali, the likeness of me and you is the likeness of Harun to Musa, except that you are not a Nabi. The Prophet ﷺ named the sons of Sayyidina Ali based upon what Harun named. Harun had named the Hebrew name for beautiful, small beautiful, and then the maker of beauty. The Prophet also named the sons of Ali, Hassan, Hussain, and Mohsin. Hassan and Hussain were famous because the Prophet ﷺ allowed them to come up to him during Salah, during the khutbah, and to climb on his back and to play with him. He gave them so much love in public, in front of everybody. There's a wisdom for why the Prophet ﷺ loved them in public. It's because in the future, they're going to need to be supported. People will be tested by them. They're going to go and take an action that is the right action, but people will be confused by it, and they'll have many enemies. And the Prophet ﷺ made an announcement for them. He said, Hassan and Hussain are the chiefs of the people of Jannah, of the youth of Jannah. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Hassan, he's a chief. He's a Sayyid. What is a Sayyid? A Sayyid means a chief. That's a foreshadowing, because this son is going to abdicate the Khilafah. He is going to receive the Khilafah. Then he's going to see that there's a civil war in the Ummah, and the only way to end this civil war is to remove the Khilafah, give it away to the other party. That's the only way to save the life of all these Muslims. When Sayyidina Ali was killed, Sayyidina Hassan became the Khalifa. At the time, the Syrian Muslims were refusing to respect the rule of Sayyidina Ali. When I say Syrians, I mean the Arabs who went to Syria. The Syrians made a pact with the Egyptians. In other words, the Arabs that were in Egypt. So now you have Syria and Egypt against Iraq and the rest of the Ummah. At the time, the Khilafah was in Iraq, Kufa. Sayyidina Hassan calculated, if we have a war, a civil war between these two groups, there are enemies of Islam waiting and watching for us to weaken. So the entire Ummah is at risk. So someone has to put down the civil war and end the civil strife. And Sayyidina Hassan decided, and he fulfilled the prophecy of the Messenger ﷺ, that this son of his, he will rectify between 2 massive groups of Muslims. And he did that by meeting Sayyidina Muawiyah the Sahabi and giving him the Khilafah. And then resigning himself back to Medina, to live in Medina, to pray in the masjid and teach Quran and Hadith in the masjid. And people blamed him. They said, why don't you fight? Why don't you give it up? He lived his life, the people blaming him, putting him down. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, Inna ibni hadha sayyid. This son of mine, he's a chief. What did the ulama say? They said, even as he abdicated, he's the chief of the ummah, based on that hadith. So what happens? He gets poisoned and he's killed.